Let me be blunt with you. You could be sitting across from a woman who's already decided you're the one, and you'd have no idea, while you're stuck in your head analyzing whether she's interested, whether you should text first, whether that laugh meant something. You're completely missing the one signal that actually matters. Here's what most men don't realize until it's too late. There's a specific moment when a woman reveals she's chosen you. It's not a text pattern, it's not body language, it's something far more telling. And if you miss it or respond wrong, that opportunity closes forever. The brutal truth: most guys are so focused on playing it cool, they don't even recognize when they've already won. They're looking for signs she might like them while she's literally showing them the answer. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. This is about recognizing when a woman has made her choice so you don't lose what you already have. I'm going to show you exactly what this signal looks like, why it changes everything, and how to handle it without screwing it up. Let's get into it. Before we go any further, let me be clear about something. This isn't about manipulation or playing mind games with women. This isn't about tricks or toxic strategies. What we're talking about is understanding psychology, specifically how women communicate interest in ways most men don't recognize. Most dating advice tells you to look for surface-level signs, but those signs are unreliable. Women can be friendly, flirty, and engaged with guys they have zero romantic interest in. What I'm about to show you is different. It's about recognizing genuine investment versus polite interest. The reality is most men waste months, sometimes years, pursuing women who were never truly invested. They misread friendliness as attraction. They confuse politeness with genuine interest. And by the time they realize the truth, they've lost time, energy, and confidence. Understanding this one signal eliminates that confusion entirely. So let's break down exactly what you need to understand about how women actually show interest. Here's the problem that's affecting millions of men right now. You're stuck in analysis mode. You send a text, and she replies 3 hours later with, "Haha, is that good? Is that bad? Does she hate you? Is she just busy?" You meet for coffee, she laughs at your jokes, touches your arm once. Does that mean she's interested, or is she just being nice? And here's why this happens. Most men are looking at the wrong signals entirely. They're focused on response times, emoji usage, physical touch, whether she initiates plans. But here's the brutal truth. Women do all of those things with guys they have absolutely zero romantic interest in. A woman can text you back quickly, laugh at your jokes, and even touch your arm during conversation and still see you as nothing more than a friend. The reason most men get trapped in this confusion is simple. They're looking for validation instead of investment. Validation is surface level. It's her being responsive, friendly, engaged. Investment is deeper. It's her taking emotional risk. And most guys are so focused on collecting validation signals that they completely miss when a woman is actually investing. So you end up in this exhausting loop. You're analyzing every interaction, trying to figure out if she likes you or if you're wasting your time. You're second-guessing yourself constantly. Should I text her? Am I being too available? Am I not showing enough interest? Meanwhile, women who are genuinely interested are showing you clear signals and you're missing them entirely because you're looking in the wrong place. So what exactly should you be watching for? What's the actual signal that separates genuine interest from friendly politeness? Here's exactly what we're going to cover. First, I'm going to show you the specific behavior that reveals genuine interest, what it looks like in text, what it looks like in person, and why it's completely different from normal conversation. Then we'll break down the psychology behind why women do this. Because once you understand the mechanism, you'll never misread the situation again. After that, I'll show you how to identify it correctly because there are false positives, and you need to know the difference between the real thing and attention-seeking behavior. And finally, the most important part, how to respond when you see the signal, because knowing it exists means nothing. If you kill the attraction with the wrong reaction, by the end of this, you'll have complete clarity. No more guessing, no more analyzing text for hours. You'll know exactly where you stand. Let me show you what this looks like. The behavior you need to watch for is this. When a woman voluntarily shares vulnerable personal information with you without you having to ask for it. I'm talking about real personal things. Her relationship with her parents, past relationship hurt, fears about her future, insecurities she carries, dreams she's working toward. This isn't small talk about her favorite TV show or complaining about work. This is her opening up about things that actually matter to her emotionally. Here's the first critical distinction. She brings it up without you asking. You're not pulling this information out of her with 20 questions. She volunteers it. Maybe you're talking about something completely unrelated, and she transitions into telling you about how her last relationship ended badly. Or you mention family, and she shares something deeper about her relationship with her father. The key is that she's the one opening the door. You didn't knock. Second distinction, it's personal and vulnerable. She's not just sharing facts about herself, she's sharing things that require emotional risk to reveal. There's a difference between I'm close with my family and my dad, and I haven't been the same since he remarried. One is surface level information, the other is vulnerability. One could be shared with anyone, the other is reserved for people she's testing to see if they're safe. Third distinction, this happens early. We're not talking about months into dating when trust is established. I'm talking about the first date, the second date, maybe the third, sometimes even before you meet. In the texting phase, when a woman shares vulnerable information this early, it's not because you've earned her trust through time. It's because she's already decided you might be worth trusting, and she's testing whether that instinct is correct. Now, why does this matter? Because in female psychology, vulnerability equals investment. When a woman guards her emotional world, that's neutral. When she opens it to you unprompted and early, that's a signal she's not doing this with every guy she meets. She's not sharing her deepest insecurities with the guy she's just being polite to. This behavior is reserved for men she's genuinely interested in pursuing something with. The reason most men miss this is simple. They're looking for physical signals. They're watching her body language, analyzing whether she's touching her hair, trying to decode whether she's mirroring them. Meanwhile, she's literally telling them, I'm interested through her willingness to be emotionally vulnerable, and they're not even noticing because they think interest looks like something else. Here's how this contrasts with normal friendly conversation. Yes, friends share personal information, but notice the timing and the reciprocity. Friends typically share vulnerable things after trust has been established over time, weeks, months, years, and it usually happens mutually back and forth. What we're talking about is different. This is her sharing vulnerability first, early, and in a way that feels slightly premature for where you actually are in the relationship. That premature vulnerability is the signal. So why does she do this? What's happening psychologically when a woman shares vulnerability with you early? First, understand that women guard their emotional vulnerability heavily. It's not something they give away casually. In female psychology, opening up emotionally to someone is a form of investment. It's creating a bond. When she shares something vulnerable, she's literally building emotional intimacy with you. That act of sharing isn't neutral. It's relationship escalation. From an evolutionary perspective, women have always needed to be selective about who they invest emotional energy in. Emotional vulnerability creates attachment. Attachment requires safety. So when a woman voluntarily becomes vulnerable with a man early, before safety has been established through time, what she's really saying is, I've already assessed you as potentially safe, and I'm testing whether that assessment is correct. This is completely different from testing in the adversarial sense. Tests are games. She pulls back, she creates drama, she checks if you'll chase. Those are manipulative tactics. And yes, some women do that. But vulnerability sharing, that's not a test you fail or pass. It's a trust test. She's asking, if I show you this part of myself, will you handle it correctly? Will you be someone I can be vulnerable with? The psychology here is crucial. When she shares vulnerability first, the power dynamic has already shifted. In typical early stage dating, men pursue, women select, men express interest, women decide whether to reciprocate. But when a woman opens up emotionally, before you've done the deep work of earning it, she's reversed the dynamic. She's pursuing you emotionally. She's the one taking the risk. She's the one hoping you'll respond correctly. Most men completely misunderstand this because they're conditioned to think attraction looks like obvious flirting, laughing at everything you say, finding excuses to touch you, texting first every time. But those behaviors can happen with anyone. They're low-cost, low-risk ways to be friendly. Emotional vulnerability, that's high cost, high risk. She doesn't do that unless she's genuinely interested. Here's another layer. The difference between oversharing and genuine vulnerability. Some people, men and women, trauma dump immediately. They unload their entire emotional history in the first conversation. That's not what we're talking about. Genuine vulnerability has a specific quality to it. Hesitation, eye contact, checking, voice softening, pauses to see how you react. She's not performing. She's genuinely testing the waters. You'll feel the difference in text form. This looks different, but follows the same pattern. You'll notice longer messages than usual, multiple bubbles sent in a row. Sometimes a follow-up, like I don't usually share this, or I don't know why I'm telling you this. She's aware that what she's sharing is deeper than normal conversation, and she's semi-apologizing for it or acknowledging the weight of it. That self-awareness is part of the signal. Now, here's where most guys screw this up completely. They don't recognize it when it happens, or they mistake oversharing for genuine vulnerability. Let's break down how to identify the real thing. Genuine vulnerability has hesitation. Her voice softens. She makes more eye contact, checking your reaction. There are pauses. She's testing the waters, seeing if it's safe to go deeper. If she shares something, then immediately changes subject or jokes. She's checking whether you handled it well. False positive. Trauma dumping, someone unloading their emotional history immediately without pauses or checking reactions. It feels performative. They're not testing if you're safe. They're using you as an emotional outlet. That's poor boundaries, not investment. In text form, look for these signs. She sends multiple messages in a row, building up to the vulnerable share. Maybe 3 or 4 short texts, then one longer, one with the actual vulnerability. She might follow it with, "Sorry, that was a lot," or, "I don't know why I'm telling you this." Haha, that self-consciousness is the signal. She's aware she just shared something deeper than normal conversation, and she's gauging whether you're okay with that depth. In person, watch for physical positioning changes. When women share something vulnerable, they often shift slightly, leaning in if they're comfortable, or creating a small bit of distance if they're nervous about how you'll react. Nervous behaviors like playing with jewelry or tucking hair behind her ear are common. These aren't calculated seduction moves. They're genuine nervous energy from emotional risk-taking. Timing matters for diagnosis. If this happens on the first date, that's a strong signal. She hasn't known you long enough to feel completely safe, which means she's decided you're worth the risk based on limited information. That's investment. If it happens on the 3rd or 4th date, it's still a signal, just a slightly different speed. Both indicate interest. One is just moving faster than the other. Content diagnostic. Is she sharing childhood stories that shaped her relationship fears from past experiences, dreams about her future that she's protective of? Or is she just complaining about surface-level annoyances? There's a difference between "my ex wasn't" and "my last relationship made me really guarded about letting people in." One is venting, the other is vulnerability. Here are the red flags that invalidate the signal. If she does this with everyone, overshares with strangers, posts deeply personal things publicly on social media constantly, then it's not special. If it feels like she's performing emotional depth to get a reaction, that's manipulation, not vulnerability. And if she shares something deep but then uses it to extract something from you, sympathy, validation, resources, that's transactional, not genuine interest. But knowing the sign means nothing if you respond wrong. Because here's the thing, when she shares vulnerability with you, there's a right way and a wrong way to handle it. Get it right and you deepen the attraction. Get it wrong and you kill it completely. Here's the framework. Validation, brief, reciprocity, then move forward. Let's break that down. Validation means you acknowledge what she shared without making it bigger or smaller than it is. When she tells you something vulnerable, don't say, "Oh, that's nothing," or "Everyone goes through that." That invalidates her experience. And don't go the opposite direction with, "Wow, that's so deep," or "Thank you for trusting me with that." That makes it weird and performative. Just acknowledge it naturally. That makes sense. Or, "I can see why that would affect you." Keep it grounded and calm. Brief reciprocity means you share something similar back, but match her level. Don't exceed it. If she shares about her parents' divorce, share something about your family dynamics. But don't trauma dump. Don't one-up her vulnerability. Show you can meet her at that depth without making it a competition. This is rapport building, not therapy. Then move forward. After the vulnerability exchange, transition somewhere else, lighter, forward-looking. Why? If you dwell too long, you become her emotional outlet, not her romantic interest. The empathy trap is real. Spend too much time comforting, and you shift from potential partner to emotional support friend. Here's what kills attraction: over-comforting, going into fix-it mode or therapy mode. She's not asking you to solve her problems. She's testing if you can handle her emotions without getting overwhelmed. So stay calm, stay grounded. Don't get more emotional about her story than she is. And another mistake: over-investing emotionally. If you respond to her vulnerability by pouring out all your own deep trauma, you've made it about you. If you text back 3 paragraphs, analyzing her situation and offering advice, you're trying too hard. Match her energy, match her depth, don't exceed it. In text form, this looks like she sends a longer message sharing something vulnerable. You respond with something thoughtful but brief. 2 or 3 sentences maximum. Acknowledge what she said. Maybe share a quick related thought, then redirect. That makes a lot of sense. I've had similar experiences with my family. Anyway, when are you free this week? You're not ignoring her vulnerability, but you're also not making the entire conversation about it. In person, your tonality matters more than your words. Keep your voice calm and steady. Don't get excited or overly sympathetic. Appropriate touch can work here. A hand on her arm, not a full hug unless she initiates it. You're providing a grounded presence, not rescuing her. The biggest thing, maintain your frame. When she shares vulnerability, that's a moment where she's checking whether you're solid. If you get flustered, if you overreact, if you change how you're showing up in response to her emotions, she'll notice and she'll pull back. The man who stays grounded when a woman shares vulnerability is the man she feels safe with. The man who gets thrown off his center is the man she doesn't trust. Frame maintenance means you appreciate her openness, but you're not seeking her approval. You're not trying to prove you're worthy of her trust. You already are, or you wouldn't be here. That quiet confidence in your response is what tells her she made the right choice in opening up to you. But here's what this really means, and this is the part most men never understand. If she's sharing vulnerability with you first, unprompted early in the interaction, you're not winning her over. She's already decided you're her top choice. The game is already won. The only question left is, will you maintain that position or lose it through your response? This is controversial, but it's true. When a woman opens up to you emotionally before you've earned it through time, she's pursuing you. She's the one taking the risk. She's the one hoping you handle it correctly. Most men are still in chase mode mentally, trying to prove themselves when the woman has already made her decision and is testing whether her instinct about you was right. Now, here's what this is not. Not about manipulation or power over her, not about thinking you're better or that she's desperate. This is about understanding she took a risk, and your job is respecting that risk by not fumbling it. The harsh truth. Most men kill attraction after she shows interest because they don't recognize the dynamic shifted. They keep chasing when they should evaluate. They keep seeking validation when they should provide certainty. Think about it. How many times have you pursued a woman, finally got a signal that she's interested, and immediately overinvested? You started texting more, being more available, trying harder, and she pulled back. Why? Because you misread the dynamic. She invested first. You were supposed to meet her investment, not exceed it. You were supposed to stay grounded, not get excited. When a woman shares vulnerability with you early, your response tells her everything. If you stay calm and grounded, she feels safe. If you get flustered or overinvest, she feels like she made a mistake. It's that simple. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced this? Has a woman ever shared something vulnerable with you early on and you recognized it in the moment or missed it completely? How did you respond? Did the relationship deepen or did things cool off after that? Maybe you're thinking back now and realizing you missed this signal with someone you were interested in. Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one and I respond to as many as I can. Your experience might help another guy who's in the exact same situation right now. Here's the bigger picture. This channel isn't about tricks or games. It's about understanding psychology so you can stop wasting time on confusion and start recognizing genuine interest when it's in front of you. We're building a community of men who understand how women actually communicate, not how we wish they would. If this helped you, subscribe for more content on female psychology and dating dynamics. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, when she shares vulnerability with you unprompted, you already have her. The only question is whether you'll keep her. Don't lose what you've already